I'm Lauren Scheel, Financial Security Advisor, and in this video presentation I'm going to walk you through the way I work, give you a bit of my philosophy of money, and hopefully show you some unique opportunities to secure your financial future with a simple three-step process. Simply put, I help people eliminate debt, build wealth, and leave a legacy. The people who work with me tend to pay off all of their debts, and that includes mortgages and student loans and everything, about 8 years sooner, retire 4 times wealthier, and pay significantly less in tax throughout their lifetimes. The beginning of any plan is to take a close look at your debt and credit situation. If you are debt-free, that's great, but if not, we need to start there. First with a plan, possible consolidation, and ultimately leverage. As Archimedes said, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." If you already own your home, you are in possession of the greatest lever imaginable. It's a simple matter to access up to 80% of the equity you have built up in cash for any purpose, tax-free. You can essentially treat your house like the tax shelter and become your own banker. Any deposits you make will directly reduce the principal owing, and you will pay interest only on what has been withdrawn in any given month. Of course, if you don't currently own your home, or you are just looking to get into the property market, traditional mortgages are the way to go, and I can help you out with those as well. But if you're going to leverage something, you're going to need a fulcrum, something solid on which to rest that lever. In this analogy, the fulcrum is your health. Most people mistakenly believe that their greatest asset is their home or their stock portfolio. That is false. Your greatest asset is actually your ability to work and earn an income. At this point, it's important to ask the question, what will happen to you, your family, your business, and the people you care about if you don't show up to work tomorrow? Well, we can't answer completely with a properly designed portfolio of insurance that includes life, health, disability, and critical illness policies. We can help alleviate some of the financial concerns that might arise because the bills will keep coming even after the income stops. Once we have the debts sorted out, we can look at building wealth through investment planning. If you believe everything you see and hear, it would seem that investment fees are killing the retirement dreams of every Canadian. Nothing could be further from the truth. The fact is that if you are prepared to pay a little for expert advice and active management, you can get a lot. It's not just about the fees you pay, but the benefits you receive. With that in mind, 90% of the investments I manage are in segregated funds. These are investment funds that are only offered by life insurance companies. They are designed in exactly the same way as more traditional mutual funds with a few added features. In exchange for a slightly higher MER, the percentage of your investment retained by the investment manager to cover the cost of their service, you get added creditor protection, which shields your investment from bankruptcy proceedings, principal guarantees, which make it harder to lose money over the long term, and estate bypass features, which save your beneficiaries on taxes and probate fees when you die. Let's consider two identical investors. Both consider themselves fairly moderate in terms of their risk tolerance, so they are interested in a balanced portfolio. Investor A puts money in a traditional mutual fund and enjoys a return of about 8.4%. At the end of 5 years, his portfolio is worth $134,075. The added features of the segregated funds, most notably the principal guarantees, allows investor B to take a slightly more aggressive stance without the worry of losing money long term. His portfolio, therefore, enjoys a return of 10.6%, and at the end of 5 years is worth $146,661. Not to mention that if the markets had lost money over that period instead of gaining, his losses would have been capped at 75%. If he had died while the markets were down, his family would have lost nothing. But what about QUESTRADE, or any other robo-advisor you may be thinking of? Well, let's look at investor C, who opted to put his money into an all-stock portfolio and tried to match overall performance of the stock market. After 5 years, assuming he was able to be at least as good as the average investor, his portfolio would be worth $142,830. He would have zero downside protection, and every time he made a trade to try and tweak his portfolio and rebalance to keep up with the market, it would have cost him at least $4.95. That's a whole lot of work for only a marginally better return than the managed mutual fund account. Finally, once the debts are managed and the long-term investment portfolio is dialed in, we need to take a look at your legacy. At the end of your life, there are three things you can do with money. You can save it, spend it, or pay tax on it. I've already mentioned the advantages of segregated funds when it comes to the distribution of your estate. The final piece of the puzzle in terms of death and taxes is permanent life insurance. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of estate planning with permanent life insurance, we should review a few basic facts. The average income tax on a $100,000 estate in Canada is $24,000, not to mention legal and administrative fees. Life insurance policies always pay out to named beneficiaries tax-free. A permanent life insurance policy grows both in face value and cash over time, has the potential to become paid up and live on without the need for additional premiums, provide an alternative asset for cash withdrawals while living, and always pays out to named beneficiaries tax-free upon your passing. So how does all this work as a tax shelter for your estate? It is possible to transfer assets that will be taxed on your death into a life insurance policy while you are living and avoid most estate taxes. In this example, by moving $1,100 per year from a taxable asset and using it to pay the premium on a life insurance policy for 20 years, you would reduce the tax payable and purchase a death benefit in excess both of the premiums paid and the taxes that will come due on your estate. In this case, the net gain after tax is about $11,000, but this is just one example. Depending on the structure of your estate, the gains could be much higher. So by now, I know you're thinking, what does all this cost? Well, in most cases, the answer is nothing. I work for you and get paid by the banks and insurance companies that I represent. But to be specific, when I open an all-in-one mortgage account, I get paid a flat rate of $500, and commission rates vary by insurance product. On the investment side, you have a choice. If you promise to leave your funds with me to invest for a minimum of 4 years, I will charge the investment firm a commission between 1.25 and 2.5% of your initial investment, which may be deducted from your account if you take the money out before the end of 4 years. Or you can pay me a service fee of 2%, which will be deducted from your initial deposit. This is usually the best option if you have a short time horizon and expect to take your money back out in less than 4 years. But honestly, very few people do it that way. So there it is. What's next? Reach out anytime and book a strategy session where we can determine your next best step.